Jamanu Money Transfer Bureau de Change, your go-to option when it comes to money transfer. With Jamanu, you can send money from anywhere in the world to your family and loved ones in the Gambia and be sure the funds will be delivered to them within the shortest time possible. For your convenience, funds sent through Jamanu Money Transfer can be picked from all the banks and multiple other financial institutions, including Ajib Bank, Trust Bank, GT Bank, Mega Bank, Basic Bank, Reliance Financial Services, and Approved Services. Visit our head office at Bruceby opposite AfricMed next to Trust Bank Limited or email us at info@jamanomt.com. You can as well call us on 310-3050 or 310-3051 or yet still 733-0688. Our opening hours are 8 a.m. to 8 p.m. Monday to Saturday and 9 a.m. to 4 p.m. on Sunday. Jamanu Money Transfer, your most trusted money transfer service where customer satisfaction is paramount. When you think of a simple, fast and reliable money transfer, think Jamanu Money Transfer.
I get it. Albaka.
Mbaka important.
Yo, nga transfer la sto.
Ya transfer la sto.
Ha, code nyenji.
Okay. What's that? Nsila ID soto.
Sorry. I get it.
Bijan bro.
Albaka.
Mbaka.
Bara alla service o tariya.
Mbale.
Mo ki janna nun kunu bara tariya.
Jannom Yona Forest de Bureau. Gambia tonkon na no mbali ya bere. Birim koyna fo kato.
Bari si kodo kino kato ni fo bolon blabe.
56 branches mola soto Gambia jam.
Ha?
Gambia kono ani Gambia bantala bankol. Nka kodo kiya bere. Kodo sifa fo falindiro fo nyaadi lafta memmen na kodi topoto nin kodi maraw. Jannom number 1 di nyonta. Andum fana nata anoda enterprise sotale. Wolam nyindi ko domorol fana kol fana be firale le dadi man domorol ni fana beteat. Gambia dawda yalo ngam fa kendol sotale je.
Wo moyo diat.
Apelenta
baraka. Ni ma lafta nyelen kendol e bina.
Yalo bukani la ko la baraka ba.
Yalo ndel chosano lo.
Baraka.
Islamic microfinance is becoming an increasingly popular mechanism for poverty alleviation, especially for developing countries around the world. This microfinance service adheres to the principles of Islam as a form of social responsibility. Yona Islamic Microfinance is the Islamic microfinance of choice in the Gambia, trustworthy and reliable. At Yona Islamic Microfinance, we provide savings products, current accounts, financing products in conformity with Islam. In addition, Yona Islamic Microfinance also offers local and international remittances, takaful fund, management of zakat, management of awqaf, trading and investment, and building of strategic partnerships to bring financial services to the doorstep of the poor with donor projects, madrasas, youth organizations, women groups, and farmer organizations. Make a choice with Yona Islamic Microfinance today. For more information on Yona Islamic Microfinance, call 377-2151 or 9832-151 or visit Yona head office at Tipa Garage, Bakote, or visit any Yona branch located countrywide near you.
welcome to the Brunch on Kerfatu Live, our weekly look at matters that happened in the Gambia over the last 7 days. I'm Lamin Chan, while I'm developing a call or have already got it maybe. But then, like we do as usual, we will delve straight into the major stories of the week, and that of course has to do with the presidential candidacy race in the main opposition United Democratic Party. We all know, of course, that in the last few days or so, the party opened the application process for nomination and selection eventually of party flag bearer. A record 11 people in the race for the executive committee's vetting and subsequent approval or for aspirant for the UDP's presidential candidate for 2026. They include, of course, veteran leader Darboe and one man which was actually in the studio, lawyer Lamin Darboe. But also with me is veteran journalist and former information minister Demba Jawo. Well, Jawo and Darboe, I don't know where to start with, because we are only going to ask Mr. Darboe what motivates him to seek the candidacy of the UDP for the next elections. But just before we come on air, we had a breaking news. That is the mayor of Kanifing, Talib Ahmed Ben Suda, has announced his withdrawal from the race, as well as his resignation as the organizing secretary of the United Democratic Party. So we will try to delve into all this. What does this now mean for the process? But first, Lamin Darboe, take us through. You are known very prominently as a very principled lawyer, somebody who wins the admiration of a lot of people. To start with, don't you think most of your fans who thinks you are a very, very good lawyer may have some reservations about you throwing your hand into politics? They might think, well, if you go into politics, that will make you a little bit partisan. Wouldn't that, in their view, scratch your so far very impeccable record as a patriotic citizen, in the country? What do you make of that? Do you think going into politics may affect your standing as a very credible and very respected lawyer? Politics being a divisive issue?
Not at all. The way I look at public affairs, and of course interacting with people generally, is to do so under the rubric of dignity. You have to respect people. You have to deal with people in a dignified way. I've been writing about public affairs in the Gambia for over 30
Islamic microfinance is becoming an increasingly popular mechanism for poverty alleviation, especially for developing countries around the world. This microfinance service adheres to the principles of Islam as a form of social responsibility. Yona Islamic Microfinance is the Islamic microfinance of choice in the Gambia, trustworthy and reliable. At Yona Islamic Microfinance, we provide savings products, current accounts, financing products in conformity with Islam. In addition, Yona Islamic Microfinance also offers local and international remittances, takaful fund, management of zakat, management of awqaf, trading and investment, and building of strategic partnerships to bring financial services to the doorstep of the poor with donor projects, madrasas, youth organizations, women groups, and farmer organizations. Make a choice with Yona Islamic Microfinance today. For more information on Yona Islamic Microfinance, call 377-2151 or 9832-151 or visit Yona head office at Tipa Garage, Bakote, or visit any Yona branch located countrywide near you.
Jamanu Money Transfer Bureau de Change, your go-to option when it comes to money transfer. With Jamanu, you can send money from anywhere in the world to your family and loved ones in the Gambia and be sure the funds will be delivered to them within the shortest time possible. For your convenience, funds sent through Jamanu Money Transfer can be picked from all the banks and multiple other financial institutions, including Ajib Bank, Trust Bank, GT Bank, Mega Bank, Basic Bank, Reliance Financial Services, and Approved Services. Visit our head office at Bruceby opposite AfricMed next to Trust Bank Limited or email us at info@jamanomt.com. You can as well call us on 310-3050 or 310-3051 or yet still 733-0688. Our opening hours are 8 a.m. to 8 p.m. Monday to Saturday and 9 a.m. to 4 p.m. on Sunday. Jamanu Money Transfer, your most trusted money transfer service where customer satisfaction is paramount. When you think of a simple, fast, and reliable money transfer, think Jamanu Money Transfer.
I get it.
Mbijan aganyadi.
Albaka.
Mbaka important.
Yo, nga transfer la sto.
Ya transfer la.
Ha, code nyingi.
Okay.
What's
Nsila ID soto.
Fast. Sorry. I get it.
Mbijan bro.
Albaka.
Mbaka.
Bara alla service o tariya. Mbare ki janna nun kunu bara tariya.
Jannom Yona Forest de Bureau. Gambia tonkon na no mbari ya bere. Birim koyna fo kato.
Bari si kodo kino kato ni fo bolong blabe to.
56 branches mola sota Gambia jam.
Ha?
Gambia kono anin Gambia bantala bankol. Nka kodo kiya bere to. Kodo sifa fo falindiro fo nyaadi lafta memmen na kodi topoto nin kodi maraw. Action.
Hello and welcome back to the brunch. I'm sure we have to do it all over again because we certainly lacked. But in the brunch, like I said, of course, where else to start than the presidential candidate race in the opposition United Democratic Party? People are in the race for the ticket to represent the party in next year's presidential election. But as we just come on air, we had an announcement by the mayor of Canifing, Talib Ahmed Ben Suda, who's been considered actually as one of the biggest candidates in the race. He announced that he is leaving not just his ambition to be the political party's presidential candidate, but also leaving his position in the executive committee as organizing secretary. This is how Mr. Bensouda announced his decision. If we can have now the video from Charles, this is how Mr. Bensouda announced just a while ago his decision to abandon his aspiration to be the party's candidate, as well as his resignation from the executive committee of the UDP.
Assalamu alaikum warahmatullahi ta'ala wa barakatuhu. It's me, Talib Ahmed Ben Suda, the Lord Mayor of the Canifing Municipality. Today, I come to talk directly to the thousands of my supporters who have followed me through my political career. All are aware that I have applied for the flag bearership of the United Democratic Party for the presidential elections in 2026. I have come today to update you on my application. All are aware that there is a process going on where 11 applicants are supposed to meet for a consensus building exercise. But I have made a prior commitment that if His Excellency Usainu Darboe pursues the UDP flag bearership, I will not challenge him for that same position. Therefore, I have taken it upon myself to meet Mr. Darboe on a one-to-one basis to let him know my desire to lead the UDP and my confidence that if selected, I will become victorious come December 2026. He has also let me know that he is committed to be the UDP flag bearer for 2026. Therefore, I have told him, and I'm here to tell my supporters, that effective immediately, I have withdrawn my candidacy for the flag bearership of the United Democratic Party 2026. Also, I have told Mr. Darboe that in good faith and in principle, I will therefore resign as the National Organizing Secretary of the United Democratic Party. Mr. Darboe will need an organizing secretary who he will trust, an organizing secretary who can deliver as to his expectation. So I am also informing my supporters that effective immediately, I have resigned as the National Organizing Secretary of the United Democratic Party. However, I cannot turn a blind eye to the many things I have heard and the many things I have seen. I urge all Gambians, politics is not a game of insults. It's not a game of division. It's not a game of personal attacks or defamatory comments. Politics is a game of national development. Politics is something we should all cherish to foster community unity. Therefore, I urge all Gambians to practice decent politics. Assalamu alaikum mbokay, maa ngi leen di nuyu di leen sant di leen gërëm al nimbara intelem Talib Ahmed Ben Suda, the mayor of the Kanifing municipality. Dama ñëw tey pour yëgal askan bi, askani Gambia ne dugal naa suma application pour nekka UDP flagbearer 2026 wante am na kaddu yu ma waxoon ba pare gor foog nga sama sa kaddu. Suma kaddu moo nekkoon ne su fekkoon ne Usainu Darboe His Excellency dafa bugg a nekk flag bearer UDP man Talib Ben Suda duma xëccoo moom pour nekk flag bearer the United Democratic Party. Kon yëg nañ ne am na process buy daw, am na candidate fukka ñu war a tasee waxtaan pour seet kan mooy nangu pour bàyyi moromam. Wante man dama wax ne su fekkee ne Usainu Darboe daf ko ut man duma ko challenge UDP flag bearership. Kon tey dem naa ci këram pour waxtaan ak moom parce que lu ma ko bugg a wax mënu ma ko wax si mbooloo. Won naa ko ne su fekkee ne UDP tànn nañ ma man am naa gom-gom bi ne comme 2026 naa gagné Adama Barrow ba pare moom legacy am nañ ko mutali. Wante moom tamit won na ma ne su fekkoon ne UDP tànn nañ ko moom pare na tam pour août 2026. Kon won naa ko ne man naa withdraw suma candidacy parce que gor foog mu sama kaadoom. Am naa suma supporter yu bari nañ am naxar, ñeneen nañ disappoint. Wante soo gisee politicien mu jar parce que kaadoom daf koo sama. Lu gën a am solo mooy nga am politicien boo óolu dan politicien boo toppa rek. Kon wax naa Mr. Darboe tamit ne tey man resign na as UDP organizing secretary parce que nit ku war a dimbale lawyer Darboe si campagne am warta nekk nit ku doon ut place am. Kon wax naa ko moom mu ut nit bu nga xam ne olu na ko, nit bu nga xam ne gëm na ko pour ko jàppale ko si presidential campaign am. Wante maa ngi wax Gambie ni yëpp saaga yi bari nañ, coow bi bari na, wax yu bon yi bari na, politique jarut loolu. Politiko manque diinooti amañ jari pour ye moo neng, amañ jari pour ye moo kajaf, amañ jari pour ye moo tuumi. Politics pour développer réew mi la. Maa ngi ñaan Gambie ni yépp ñu nekk benn ñu doxal jaama. Al nga kambeng pour nga banko doko. kon maa ngi gërëm ñëpp di sant ñëpp di wax ne man Talib Bensouda am naa yaakaar si Gambia gëm naa ne Gambia mun naa dem kanam gëm naa ne Gambia mun naa nekk dëkk pour ñëpp wante bugga naa ñëpp tam ñu saama jaama bu nekk biir Gambia waxi division ñu bàyyi ko waxi xeet ñu bàyyi ko yëfi sagante ñu bàyyi ko kon kaddu bu ndaw bi laa amoon tey pour jotali askan bi yëpp pour jotali suma fans yi yëpp suma fans yi tey xam naa ñeneen yi nañ am disappointment ñeneen yi nañ am na.
Welcome back to the brunch. This is on Kerfatu Live, of course. I'm Lamin. Well, we just had from one of the aspirants for the UDP candidacy, Talib Ahmed Bensouda, there declaring his intention now to withdraw from the race, as well as his resignation from the United Democratic Party's executive committee, where he served as organizing secretary. Well, one other candidate who I guess is still in the race, unless of course he too want to take the opportunity of this live program to quit the race, is Lamin Darboe, lawyer, who is among now 10 people, looking for the UDP to select them as flag bearer. Mr. Darboe, are you going to follow suit as what Mr. Bensouda did, leave the race?
Well, I don't know what Mr. Bensouda's reasons are as of now, since the process is ongoing. I'm happy to go ahead and continue to be in the process of the selection of the flag bearer for the UDP. I'm in as of now.
Yeah, you are in the race.
Yes, I'm in the race.
Mr. Bensouda said there, and Mr. Jawo, you can help us here. He said he is leaving because he had said if Darboe was interested, he was not going to contest. He said that publicly, and he's now saying that he had gone to Mr. Darboe. Actually, he said for a face-to-face meeting, and Mr. Darboe insisted that Mr. Darboe is interested in contesting. So he said he felt it now necessary, to withdraw from the race. But then, of course, he said for the same reason, or similarly, he has to resign from the party because he doesn't want to be somebody who should be campaigning for somebody whose job he was interested in. Do you think this is, a very sincere move, or you think he's coming under pressure from, from, let's say, the rival supporters who might not be, very much happy about his candidate?
Well, in the first place, I don't think he said he's going to resign from the UDP. He has not said
his
so.
Executive. No.
He said his preparation of, I think, organizing secretary. That's what he said. He's not gone as far as to say that he's leaving the UDP. Yeah, I mean, it's a very interesting scenario within the UDP there, and I think this could have been avoided because from the word go, both Talib and Yankuba Darboe of Brikama made it quite public that if Hussein Darboe is vying for the position, they were not going to send in their applications. So I think that was the situation until the last day or two, when we heard that Talib has sent in his application. And the reason he said, because some people were accusing of doing what but he said he had asked up to the very last minute whether Mr. Darboe has applied, and they told him no, he had not. That's the reason why he sent in his application. So, I think what Mr. Darboe was saying, because
he's a lawyer, so we have to.
So I think what Hussein should have done was, he could have made things much easier for the UDP executive if he had much earlier on, after hearing these people's declaration, and if he indeed was interested in going for the the candidacy, he should have much earlier on made his application so that these people would not have at least sent in their application. But I understand he didn't do so until the very last day or so, before he sent in an application. I think that also, either is a lack of communication within the party itself, or whatever the reason it was. But I don't think we should have arrived at this situation in such a situation. Definitely. But anyway, it's as I said, it's a very, very interesting scenario within the UDP.
Well, you know the UDP. You've been following politics for the last 30 years since the party was formed. Many people said this year seemed to be a watershed, moment in the party. Once we saw that there's a genuine, tangible and practical challenge to the hegemony. If people, critics will say that was hegemony, that was grip of power in the party is been shaken or challenged for the first time.
Indeed, on the surface, we don't know what is actually, what is simmering underneath. But on the surface, definitely, this seems to give the UDP, a higher profile. The very fact that they seem to be, very democratic. Because this is a democratic process which is unprecedented in this country. Because we all know that, the party leader was hardly challenged. Has ever been challenged in this country. When the party leader wants a position, nobody else within the party would go, try to go in for that. But we have seen that at least 11 people had gone in for it, even though, the party leader is among those people. So this is unprecedented. It shows you definitely, it has taken the UDP profile as a democratic party to a higher level. That is, that is what we have seen on the surface. We don't know what these simmering other things are underneath. We are not sure.
Do you think the party can emerge from this intact? Some people said the rancor now suggests that there have now been irreconcilable, disputes now. That it has descended into something that nobody can patch, that the party can never come back to be one again.
Indeed, it's a make or break situation for the UDP here. It definitely can lead to the party being united and going forward for 2026 elections, but it can also lead to a breakup of the party. And there are symptoms definitely that things can turn chaotic for the party, because if you listen to Talib's, he has not gone as far as telling us that he is leaving the UDP, but it appears his position within the party is definitely it seems quite untenable right now, and it's very likely that even if he continues as a member of the party, it's not going to be as it was. And I can assure you also that most of his diehard supporters we are going to reconsider their membership of the UDP. So this could definitely lead to at least some friction or some
irreconcilable.
Well, it likes it. I'll not be surprised if definitely Talib's camp decide to quit the UDP altogether. That's possible. It's a possibility. Yeah.
And what do that say about the potentials for a party who call itself the biggest opposition and the biggest chance to unseat the NPP if with all these factions now?
Well, that's it. Talib has a very big constituency within the UDP. There is absolutely no doubt about that. And if he decides to leave the party and go with maybe some of his supporters, it's definitely going to dent the UDP as a party, as a united party and the biggest opposition party. Honestly, I am not sure where it is going to end, but it's not going to be good for the party, the cohesiveness of the party. Absolutely not.
Okay, we'll come back to more of what this may mean for the UDP. Yes, but like I said, someone who's still in the race is Lamin Darboe. Right. He said, he just with us when Talib declared his intention to quit, but he said he's not quitting. At least so far, he is going to follow the process up to its end. Perhaps. We wish him all the best of luck. But then, Mr. Darboe, you have already undergone the vetting process already. Or rather, you have appeared before the panel. In the beginning, when you initially wanted the position, you started with a query because the application process indicated that you said that it would mean that you cannot renounce, you being somebody who has dual citizenship, cannot renounce your the other citizenship within 14 days window that the party initially provided for application president. But the party came back to say, well, that probably was a misunderstanding or you prematurely faulted the system. But then they said, okay, they agree with you that since election is not coming now, that portion of that criteria may not be relevant now. So then we saw that maybe you took that to be the case. Now you still have faith in the process. You applied and to be the party presidential candidate, how sure are you, how faithful are you still in the process that it will be free and fair?
Well, you have to give the party and the panel the benefit of the doubt. So that's what I'm doing. I'm in there giving the process the benefit of the doubt. It's not the time to query that process as far as I am concerned. So I'll stay there and I'll be monitoring the situation like all the candidates hopefully would be doing.
What will happen in the event that somebody else is picked? Like I was discussing with Jawo, everybody feared that your party has now gone, to a stage where differences are irreconcilable. Will you, Lamin J. Darboe, anybody who subsequently becomes the presidential candidate?
If I believe that the processes have been handled correctly, the interview process before the panel went well. They asked questions.
What sort of questions did they ask, if I may ask? That's the UDP that have been discussed.
Yes, because the interview process was not even on record, as far as we were told.
They're not allowed to discuss what they ask?
Well, not maybe, but if you're going to make a mistake, do it on the side of caution. Maintain the internal processes, the confidentiality of the internal processes.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I will spare you those details.
Yes.
Okay, but then what motivates you? What motivates you to go in there? Or like people will say, critics of the UDP will say, how do you challenge Uzenoda?
Well, this is not my first application. I applied in 2021, but in 2021 I was not even invited for the interview process. Yeah.
You applied, but you weren't even invited.
No, 4 people applied. You say no, and 3 of us, 3 other people applied. Darboe from somewhere in Fonyi, myself, and I think Hussein Mboub from Bakau. But in 2021, but none of us were invited.
Nobody was invited?
No.
You just sat down and said it's settled down?
Well, we were not invited.
Maybe you were told that your application is turned down?
No.
You just applied and that was the end of it?
We applied, and that was it.
So this is an improvement on the situation.
So this is an improvement.
Yes, absolutely.
Because at least for us, you have been listed.
Yeah.
So even as Kantaro Equality was, last time is an improvement now.
Yeah, absolutely.
Absolutely. Right. So what motivates you? Why do you think you would be a better candidate to enhance the party's chance?
Well, Mr. Chairman, you've been a journalist for a long time. I've been involved in the public affairs of this country going back to 1992. I've been participating in the debates that were going on, observing the PPP government, and participating in the conversations about that government and how it was running the country. To the extent that we did warn that unless it corrects direction, and this is not, verbal communication. There are written essays in the Daily Observer warning the government, and unless it changes course, there is a possibility that the government would be overthrown. Yes. So I've been observing public affairs. I believe our biggest problem is governance. That is where I believe I can come in to ensure what they call system change, what Khalifa Saleh calls system change. That's what I believe in. I'm not in the business of comparing you and Mr. Jawo and saying, Mr. Cham is better than Jawo, Jawo is better than Mr. Cham. I don't do that. I look at the system. and the weaknesses of human beings. Yes, human systems, human governance models that are not embedded in democracy, in accountability, and in systems that you can look at and evaluate. In a situation like that, human beings can do anything. When you know that you will not be accountable for anything, there is nothing that you cannot do. Yes, that is a weakness in the human being. It's not like other people are better than others. I'm not judging anything from that perspective. Give me a verifiable system so that if a person in government, they say the president, does something that is wrong, we can know that it is wrong. But to sit two people and try to say one is better than the other, that is a misunderstanding of the nature of the human being. We are all the same. Yes, we are all the same.
So you believe that if given the opportunity, you will be a candidate who will, in a more greater way, boost the chances of the party?
Yes, absolutely. I believe that if I'm given the opportunity, I'm not going to be somebody who just comes and say, okay, tell us about yourself and all that kind of propaganda. No. In my case, I have at least 50 major articles that I wrote about Gambian public affairs going back to 1992. People can look at those things and decide who this person is.
But, people will look and say we have not seen tangibly anything, even within the party. When you came to meet the committee, so to speak, we didn't see you with much fanfare as we did with Darboe and perhaps
No.
Suda. Where's your place in the UDP in Gunjur?
My place is very wide, Mr. Chairman. Well, I think you'll come to realize that I've been engaged in public affairs and community affairs for a long time. So, like I said,
I've seen a lot of people who commend you on it. And when your candidate was announced, said, well, perhaps if they don't agree, if the feuding parties, mostly Stalin versus Darboe, they said if the feuding parties don't agree, perhaps they could get Lamin Darboe as a potentially a bridge, a very good bridge. For that, they commended you.
Well, a bridge, yes, that is a possibility. But what I'm saying is that I have my own base. I don't advertise these kinds of things, but I know I do have a base, a big base.
But you have to come out now that you've thrown your hands officially in with it. You have to come out with your base.
Well, in this interview process, a lot of people came along. Or with three people. A friend of mine in the United Kingdom said, can we organize transportation for other people? I said, no, it's not necessary. I don't think that would be necessary. I thought that would be disruptive of the process. So, but when I went there, I was the fourth person. Hussein was the fifth person on that day, on Thursday. So people before Hussein didn't come with any crowd. But you have to know that Hussein is a party leader.
Oh, okay, he's the incumbent. When you are trying to unseat.
Yeah, he's a party leader. He's the incumbent. So there were people there. And of course, we were inside when he arrived, but you could hear the commotion outside. So the party leader is approaching. But that's not a problem. But about the base, well, I think we leave that for the coming month or so. Yeah.
Okay, now, can you ask him how he did?
I think it's already clarified why he decided to go. Of course, we are right. We all know about Lamin Darboe.
Exactly.
Role in the past, how he has been very prominent as far as not critic of the government, but at least he's been writing quite a lot
on Gambian affairs,
on Gambian affairs, governance and other things. So that's the thing. But I think the other issue that the UDP should have done was probably organize a debate amongst their candidates before even coming to choose who, so that at least involving the people indirectly, they should have done that. But anyway, I understand we're going to know the outcome probably by midweek this next week or so. So that's it. I'm sure that is not going to happen. But it's as I say, it's a very, very interesting situation as far as this is concerned, and it could be a make or break situation for the UDP. Let's only hope and pray that the party will survive this and remain intact towards the elections, because it could be catastrophic for the UDP if, as I said, Talib, he has got a big constituency within the party and outside the party. He's got a lot of support as well. If he decides to quit from the party, honestly, I fear it could be not going to be good for the UDP as a party. And as I always say, this could have been at least if not completely avoided, it could have been minimized. I mean, if Mr. Darboe had come out clear, and then to save the trouble of others who, had already declared that when he applied, they were not going to apply. Probably Talib would not have been in this situation today if he had not applied. And because Mr. Darboe had already applied, which he had already promised. If he had not applied, probably it would not have come to this stage today. But anyway, that's the situation. Let's see what the outcome is going to be.
Let's talk about how this is going to play into the hands of the opponents. What have been the comments from the MPP? I have actually said, okay, we are today in our how do they call it? What phrase do they use? Suddenly it's going to be a piece of music.
They've been observing the situation very, 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 closely. Whatever the outcome is going to be of interest to them. Because, for them, the more trouble within the UDP, of course, the better for the NPP. And
yes.
I'm sure they are praying that this will continue. Probably somebody would even try to see how they can notch Talib so that he can, cause more.
Do you think that Talib is the biggest fear of the NPP? Well, people have been saying that, they like Hussein because they know Hussein is much easier to defeat. So people say, well, the NPP's prayers is for Talib's candidature to go. And that's
probably he's an unknown, quantity there, and probably they wouldn't. They know Hussein and they know the tactics that probably they can use because they've been using it for the past 3 or 4 times. I don't know, whatever the situation is, and probably they've already mastered his style and they know how to go. And maybe defeat him. But in the case of Talib or any of the other applicants, probably they are not sure what style they are coming.
For example, Lamin,
of course, probably they will be more comfortable with facing Hussein than facing Talib.
That's what he said that.
Yeah, so that's the thing. I'm sure Talib, probably some people within the NPP are not very sad about it, because at least one unknown quantity is gone. So,
so it's a piece of music for
that's how it looks like. Yeah.
That's
what I'm saying. Yeah, that's how, don't know.
How are you going to tackle the NPP? It's supposed to be, if you are lucky, to come out. They are now having a field day. They said they have a party even before the real party starts. Well, they have always said they will defeat you anyway, whoever you bring. You believe that?
Well, I don't know. You cannot tell. But we'll cross that bridge when we come to it. I believe we are in a complex situation. If you listen to people, there are partisans on both sides. People that you cannot move, whatever you do. Yes, it's like belonging to a religion. So whatever you do, there are people that you'll not be able to move. Okay, but what people have been telling us in 2021, maybe before that, and also currently, is that there are many Gambians who are undecided. So they'll be looking at who the possibilities are. These will all settle as we get into next week and the subsequent weeks. It will all settle down. The NPP would know who their potential candidate is going to be. The UDP, of course, knows who its opponent would be. As far as we are concerned, that would be the President of the Republic. Yes. So, so it's a very unsettled situation. You have to convince the undecided voters that you have what it takes, because I don't believe it is a party that runs a country. It is a leader that runs the country. The party assists, but you have to look at the qualities of a leader. Yes, that is very significant. Like we said, we didn't build our system in this country as far as governance under the rule of law is concerned. Yes, people would say, okay, Sada, we need to restore our democracy and things like that. Well, what was democracy without accountability? We have seen the parastatals demolished, being brought daylight by that PPP government, and nothing was done about it. Yes, yeah. So you have to have somebody who has the capacity to build a system that is transparent. Because once there's transparency there'll be accountability. Yeah, it is when everything is operating under the table in utter darkness that you cannot do anything with a governance system. It then becomes free for all. Yes, they'll just try to hide their things, but this is a very small country. I think a president cannot be fooled if he's really interested in what is happening in the departments as far as overall policy understandings are concerned, and how you project your power and the power of government to serve the interest of the people. So it is going to be a building process. Anybody who cannot build will not be able to effect any changes in the country. Yeah.
Yeah, he mentioned undecided voters. He's saying that, well, you know, whatever may happen in the PP, in the UDP, even if the NPP thinks that, well, the breaking of the UDP might be a field day for them, or a day for a festival for them, the undecided voters who probably did not agree with NPP will still look out for somebody else who may come from the chaos.
Well, of course, the undecided voters is a very big percentage of the of the voters in this country, and they can definitely, they have the potential to decide at the end of the day who wins. I mean, it's not just because usually the parties, the membership of the different parties is very, very minimal. At the end of the day, it is the undecided voters who actually make the decision as to who they're going to vote for. And it's not a clear-cut thing here. It could be anybody, and if anybody has the best policies and the best approach and everything else, I mean, it's as an individual, probably they will disregard the party. The undecided voters will disregard the party and go for the individual, looking at the credibility and a lot of other things that the individual comes up with. So,
there has been talks that there's a yearning on the side of the youth for a third force. And you've seen politicians who always said the NPP and the UDP are 6 and 9. That there's very little difference between them. So they said the youths are yearning for a third force. Do you think now with the problems in the UDP, the clamor for a third force may even be invigorated, from the events that's happening now?
Well, again, because we've been hearing rumors that there is a possibility of maybe getting an opposition coalition of different parties coming together. So, well, if that were to go through, I mean, let's hope that they come up with maybe a candidate who is agreeable to the coalition. It could be Darboe, it could be Lamin Darboe, it could be anybody else, I mean, that could be the, maybe if they agree and all the different components of that coalition back that particular candidate, maybe probably because it's very likely to be he, because she's
that's another problem.
Yeah.
He would. I wouldn't have a chance to put this to Mr. Darboe. I have people who look at you and say, my quarrel with this UDP list is not because there are many people, but they are all male. So where is your propaganda and your this thing in the UDP that you are in for women empowerment? Not a single woman is among your list of aspirants. So as far as you are concerned, your party is concerned, no woman is ready to be president.
Well, this is an open process. The announcement did not exclude anybody. It has no qualifications on gender. So obviously, if people don't want to apply, they don't want to apply. I know there are people there.
So that's a capable woman there.
Well, capable women.
The only Dibas and so many others.
Yakumba Jete.
Yakumba Jete.
There are a lot of them.
Yes, there are women there who can apply, but so probably they didn't want to apply.
Yeah. And that brings to mind, women and men combined. Many people said the UDP of all political parties in this country has the best, array of intellectuals, men and women of quality who you can trust with leadership, but they can't do their homework right to be united. That your biggest problem is not manpower, but to overcome this unity and agree on a single person is your problem. And this event seemed to be really play, to that kind of thought.
I think that's probably a misanalysis of the situation.
As analysis, people say, I wish all these good people in this list can come together and agree even before they go through this rancor.
Yeah, but this is an external process. It's not an internal UDP process. Say, for example, who applies. That there are external triggers to that. So the individuals believe they can do that. Now, the party you are talking about, the consensus building. So that would be the process that takes place going forward. I don't know forward from when. It can be forward from Wednesday when that announcement is made. And that is a question they ask at the interview. And I was also asked about...
I asked you to give me the full details.
No.
The question as to...
Yes, that interview, I did mention that when I was being interviewed by Kamaraba and Sonko Gambia. Yes, that... they want a commitment that you will back whoever is selected.
You said as long as the process.
Yes. As long as the process is fair. Yes. So obviously we have not reached that stage yet. If we reached it, we've not crossed it. So you cannot say it didn't happen. Right now, it's just a question of people saying, I am interested and I am interested. And, so the process is trying to filter its understanding of where it goes from where we are to where we should be. That is the unity part that you are talking about. The process would call it the consensus building part. Yes. So consensus building and all these other things, they are all good, fantastic sound bites and all that. But at the end of the day, people are going to look at the substance. Was this fair? Yes. If you believe it is not fair, then obviously, and you didn't participate in the consensus building, it is not you who abandoned that consensus building. It is the process itself that failed the party. And so obviously that is where the disputes will come in. It's a complicated situation, but hopefully that can happen. Yeah.
Another thing is like this. If, for example, people tend to ask about the party, don't people believe that you propagate and advocate for democracy? They're now asking whether just to do exactly that, exercising that democratic right of expressing an interest to the leadership of the party should not tantamount to a crime. People saying the kind of rancor, the aggressive rivalry that is happening since this race began definitely doesn't show that the democracy that the party really preaches is happening, because people think that for some it's a crime even to express interest in. You must have seen, okay, let me take Jawo. You must have seen a lot of bitter exchanges between rival camps. You haven't seen that? Jawo? What does they say about UDP democracy? You just commended the party for allowing such a democratic process. But people who have been observing said also the process is not that very smooth.
Because that is natural, people competing for a particular position. Of course we expect them to be
with the kind of
Yeah, I mean, I agree. Some of the, some of the language being used is unfortunate, but that is, well, it's, I mean,
it's a Gambian.
Yeah, I mean, with social media, anything goes. Some they all use all kinds of language, insults, and in all other invectives, and it's unnecessary. But I mean, well, it's as I said. Yeah, I mean, when people are competing for a particular position, it's only natural they criticize each other. But honestly, I mean, the type of language sometimes being used is unfortunate. That shouldn't have happened, because that's not good for even for the cohesion of the party at the end of the day. Because I mean, we've had some people even talking about leaving the party if a particular aspirant is selected, and I think this shouldn't have gone that far, because at the end of the day, if the party decides to select one particular candidate, I think everybody should back that particular candidate, because it's a kind of contest between different people with different interests and maybe different approaches and all. So it's only natural that only one person would be chosen. And I think it was unfortunate that anybody would make such a comment that if a particular candidate is chosen, I will consider my membership of the party. That was wrong, and I think that shouldn't have helped in the situation at all.
The UDP has led in terms of, well, we could say, allowing a process of primaries, in the selection process for their party leader or flag bearer, as we have seen this year. Do you think such a scenario is possible in other political parties? I'm thinking of, for example, the NPP. If anybody dares now to say, I want the position of party leader flag bearer in the NPP, or maybe you can remember Mamadi Quran. People said he was trying to say Halifa, wish Halifa go, and you have all those rumors. Should we say the UDP? Can we give any credit for the UDP for this, or you think this is possibly in other political parties? I mean, knowing the history of political parties in the Gambia, the leader takes everything, nobody challenges leaders.
Yeah, of course, this situation in the UDP is unprecedented, as I said, because usually, I mean, the party leader wants a position, nobody is very unlikely that anybody would challenge the party leader to it. Well, of course, we've heard from Mr. Darboe here, Lamin Darboe, that in 2021, actually, he applied for, but again, you've seen how it went about, because, I mean, as far as the leadership of the different parties are concerned, the party leader is the leader, and whatever he wants, nobody should challenge him. But in this particular case, we've seen 11 people applying for this particular position, including the party leader. So I think it's a commendable gesture on the part of the UDP. It definitely should kind of lift its democratic profile. But again, I think, as we call it a primary, I'm not sure whether it qualifies to be called a primary. I think a primary would have at least involved a wider membership of the party rather than just restricted to a few people, a committee of people and other things. I don't know whether that qualifies to be called a primary. Anyway, whatever the case, I think the situation is an improvement of what it used to be in the past in all the parties in this country.
Right. Perhaps I shouldn't pass. One commentator is very impressed with our guest here, Lamin Jawo. He even called it Dr. Lamin Jawo. He said, the most qualified candidate is Dr. Lamin Jawo. Great man. Please, UDP, select this man. Well,
that is his opinion, and I thank him very much for what he has to say. But coming back to your question about the insults, the aggressive exchanges, that is something that the parties in this era should really try to bring in their supporters. You cannot have your supporters whose identities are known, insulting other members of the party over a simple thing, like flag bearer. The provision is in the Constitution. Yeah. So why do you think only one person, say the party leader? Because usually those who do these things are the people who are supporting the party leader. Yes.
So you are saying that we should have support?
No. I am saying, because what you said, we all read comments and things like that, and of course, if you analyze
Yeah.
what Talib said in his resignation,
Yeah.
that is, he emphasized the need for civility.
He also mentioned.
Yes. So this is very important. Why is it necessary for him to talk about civility? Because people said, you know, who are you? If you want to apply, you go and form your own party.
Oh.
Yes. So that is very, very common in these discussions.
Yeah.
But who owns the UDP?
Oh.
So that is the question you have to ask yourself. Yeah. People need to come out of this. It does not.
So you want to say your party is not that mature to, for such a process of divergent views in seeking, divergent views towards an approach to flag-bearer. People are 30 years, you're more democratically mature to allow such a thing to happen.
Yes, well, it can happen, but social media, you cannot control anybody from just sitting.
Why would, like you have done, the leaders like, say, the Darboe, Suda, and all others come out and say, look, what you are doing is not helping the party's unity. You are attacking each other, and we need each other at the end of the day. How can I expect Lamin Darboe to support me when my supporters, my non-supporters, in my name, are insulting Lamin Darboe? Perhaps if you, the aspirants, come together and talk to the people, perhaps that will, in fact, it may encourage unity at the end of the day.
Well, I remember about some years ago, the party leader did say that they are not encouraging anybody to be insulting other people and that they should stop. But I believe you should go beyond that. Yeah, attach sanctions to it. If people are known who are insulting other people in the party for no reason other than expressing their democratic right to stand for the UDP flagbearer aspirant contest, what you have to do is discipline them. Yeah, you have to discipline some people. It is very really disconcerting to have people for no reason at all going online and insulting other people. And we know their identities. Yeah. Talk about policy, talk about where to take the party. Yes, we all contributed to the party. So if you say you go and form your own party, what are you telling the person? Yeah. You are a second-class member of this party. If you dare challenge the party leader, we're going to go online and insult you. It's very clear. Yes.
Yeah, I agree with Mr. Darboe here. I think the party leadership should definitely do much more than they are doing at the moment to rein on their members. Because, as he said, some prominent members who everybody knows who go online making all these kinds of comments, and you hardly see any, at least probably, behind the scenes, they are trying to rein on them, but at least it should be visible so that you put kind of sanctions on those people so that at least it will, send the message to the other. That is, as far as the party is concerned, everybody should be an equal member. Nobody should be discriminated because of their ethnicity, religion, or whatever. But some of the comments you see from people who are supposed to be prominent members of the party is quite disappointing, definitely.
All right, let's wrap up now with the general situation in the country. Of course, what we wouldn't call it a rancor, the opposition circles, and the NPP seem to be enjoying, at least for now, a lot more stability around their presidential candidate. But what do you make of the recent developments? The government came out, Mr. Jawo, to respond to petitions filed by the protest group Ghana. And in the process, the government listed 13 cases, they said, are corruption cases that they have tackled, suggesting that they have not been sleeping or have not been active when it comes to fighting corruption. Mr. Darboe, you watched that press conference. At least 6 ministers came there. Have they fared well in assuring the public that they're fighting corruption?
Well, you can initial steps. These are baby steps, obviously. Yes, it is true. Some senior members of the government have been charged. Others are currently undergoing trial, and that is very encouraging. We encourage the government to continue on that trajectory. It reassures people, but you don't deal with individual cases. You have to deal with the culture of impunity in government. That is what you have to deal with. But more fundamentally, you have to create a system that would make it impossible for public servants to steal millions and millions and millions of dollars without anything happening to them. You know, these court cases take time. They really do. Yeah. But it's a democracy, so we are encouraged by that. But it is the culture that really need to be tackled. We put in systems so that people don't steal money, you know, assured that nothing will happen to them. Now, tell me something. Like I said, you and DA here. Now, if you step out of here and you decide to walk on foot to where your car is parked at the turntable, you pick $10,000 on the road. You look there, look in front, and at the back you saw nobody. Yes. Will you leave the 10,000 there? Will you take it to the police? Human beings are not like that. Put systems in place. What makes it difficult for people to steal, like digitalization of the financial infrastructure of the country. That is very important. The revenue infrastructure of the country needs to be digitalized. If you do those things, then nothing happens. But this is different really from the Ghana situation. Remember, Ghana was triggered by not so much individuals stealing, but the system that is not punishing anybody. It's a system that is not punishing itself. That is what triggered Ghana over the Ghana Commission. Yes, the selling of Jamanu asset. So that is what you need to deal with. Yes. So saying tackling corruption is not a prophylactic. You cannot use that as a protection to say citizens should not demonstrate. We are doing our bit. Yeah. The recent, we are going into the court case because there is a court case there.
Yes, we can.
And I'm among the lawyers. We cannot go into the details. But the issue, the fundamental question is whether in a democratic society, the people have a right to protest. Yes.
Exactly.
Yeah, and this is something the courts would have to interpret in the case.
Haven't it been interpreted in the case of the Public Order Act? It's been said that every court said it's part of our law, so it should be there.
Well, it probably is part of our laws, but as time goes on, I am sure differently constituted courts would look at these things very carefully. That the Public Order Act is part of our laws. It may be part of our laws, but it has to be managed and made to conform with democratic ideals. Yes, the democratic ideals that the government is saying it is, yes, that's right. So, but Ghana, these recent protests at the Pura wasn't about corruption or anything like that. Tangentially, you can say it touches corruption, but it's about a different kind of issue. Yes, you know, yeah, that was what it was about. So you ask yourself whether that is fair or whether that was not fair. You know, you can discuss with the protesters.
What about the legally? I mean, you don't sometimes what I would call stray into religious matters. But there was this imam who caused a lot of controversy, and the government came to apologize on his behalf. So did the Supreme Islamic Council. He was invited by the police. We saw he had a lot of supporters who said he's definitely telling the truth. Others in the Murid said, well, they're offended by what he said. How do you think should be the role of the government in tackling it? Because people don't want the government to intervene, but the government sees that this situation can lead to chaos. They need to do something. So, what will government do that? People are saying government, you should not intervene, but government cannot sit down and see the breakdown of law without intervening. How do you see the intervention?
Well, the government intervention in a case like this is a contested terrain, obviously. Yeah, it's contested between citizens. It is contested between the government that believes it should intervene and people who believe it is not the business of the government. But of course, you can also acknowledge the fact that there are diplomatic dimensions to it because of the it looks like it was not confined to the Gambia. So it is the Gambia and Senegal. It can spill over into that kind of dispute. But as to the substantial question itself, well, if the matter goes to court, then that is where people like me would come in, and to really see what is an area that the government should go into. All I can say, I listened to it. There was civility and dignity in it, but the other side would say it as a philosophical attack on their way of worship, on what they believe in. So that then triggers a dispute. But so that dispute rise to the level where the government should intervene. If it wants to do anything, maybe you can call a few imams and ask them to, discuss doctrine between themselves and Imam Kuyate. So that is doctrine, because I saw some of those things other people are saying. Well, even the Prophet Muhammad ﷺ said, if a dispute, if something, a question is going to lead into a dispute and it can be left alone, maybe leave it alone. Yes. Some theologians are propagating that. Not that they are condemning Kuyate, but they did say, okay, so they can carry themselves and have a theological conversation over whether that was appropriate. If it is not appropriate, I wouldn't say apologize. I'm not going into that area. But the big deal here is whether the government should apologize on behalf of an individual. I think the individual should apologize if he feels he has to apologize. If he wants his day in court, he should go to court. The government should go ahead and prosecute him. But if you take him to court, what are you going to prosecute him on? So that is some of the questions that you can manage it diplomatically out of the courts and out of, don't allow it to spill too much into the public arena. Yes, but the diplomatic angle, the government can sort that out with the Senegalese government.
Jawo, you think government should have come and apologized, or they should have just stayed and wait for the Supreme Islamic Council to handle it, and then maybe come forward if there's...
Well, I agree with Mr. Darboe that there is a diplomatic angle to this particular case, because this is not the first time this is happening. We have had, imams coming out castigating the Ahmadiyya. And the government had kept quiet. They have never apologized on behalf of anybody. So this is there is a diplomatic angle to this particular case. And well, of course, there are a lot of issues here. Free speech. I mean, again, does the imam have the right to speak his mind on his when he's making his summons? But again, I mean, we are told that whatever you are saying has the potential to cause trouble within the society. At least if you can avoid saying it, it's okay. I mean, I think the government, I mean, of course, has a role to play. As you said, they cannot sit down and see a potential issue that has a potential to bring chaos within the society and keep quiet. Whether it was up to them now to apologize on behalf of the imam or encourage the imam through the Supreme Islamic Council to apologize to the Murids, that's another issue altogether. But I think, I mean, definitely the diplomatic angle was quite evident here. So again, I mean, just before I give up on the issue of corruption, it was good. It was good that the government came out and listed maybe a few, civil servants and other public servants being prosecuted for one thing or the other. But again, it does not demonstrate the government's commitment to fighting corruption here, because I mean, it's getting to 2 years now. The anti-corruption bill has been passed and it's been signed into law, and we are still waiting for the commission to be set up. I don't know why they are dragging on. And again, I mean, there are a lot of other issues that the government should have been pursuing, but they are not. I mean, but as Mr. Darboe said, some of these cases would be forever in the courts. I mean, when do we see justice being? I mean, a good case in point is Abasangan.
But it was mentioned by the minister.
Yeah, of course. I mean, what I'm saying is been dragging on and on and on. I mean, nobody knows what its situation is. So you see, I mean, the commitment of the government to fighting corruption is definitely not very evident in this announcement that they have got these few being, prosecuted. I think there are a lot of issues that they can, do to convince the people that they actually are quite serious about fighting corruption in this country.
Demba Jawo, veteran journalist and former information minister, and lawyer Lamin Darboe, thank you, both of you, very much for coming to the brunch, and on a very special circumstance. Now we can let us to use our backup powers. So we are very limited in terms of comfort around, but all the best. I thank you very much for being here and sharing your insightful thoughts on current affairs, especially your party, the UDP. Thank you very much for being on the brunch. We will be back next week, inshallah, when this place will be perhaps much colder, courtesy of Narek, hopefully. Until then, goodbye from Lamin Cham.
Islamic microfinance is becoming an increasingly popular mechanism for poverty alleviation, especially for developing countries around the world. This microfinance service adheres to the principles of Islam as a form of social responsibility. Yona Islamic Microfinance is the Islamic microfinance of choice in the Gambia, trustworthy and reliable. At Yona Islamic Microfinance, we provide savings products, current accounts, financing products in conformity with Islam. In addition, Yona Islamic Microfinance also offers local and international remittances, takaful fund, management of zakat, management of awqaf, trading and investment, and building of strategic partnerships to bring financial services to the doorstep of the poor with donor projects, madrasas, youth organizations, women groups, and farmer organizations. Make a choice with Yona Islamic Microfinance today. For more information on Yona Islamic Microfinance, call 377-2151 or 9832-151, or visit Yona head office at Tipa Garage, Bakote, or visit any Yona branch located countrywide near you.
Jamanu Money Transfer Bureau de Change, your go-to option when it comes to money transfer. With Jamanu, you can send money from anywhere in the world to your family and loved ones in the Gambia and be sure the funds will be delivered to them within the shortest time possible. For your convenience, funds sent through Jamanu Money Transfer can be picked from all the banks and multiple other financial institutions, including Ajib Bank, Trust Bank, GT Bank, Mega Bank, Basic Bank, Reliance Financial Services, and Approved Services. Visit our head office at Bruceby opposite AfricMed next to Trust Bank Limited, or email us at info@jamanomt.com. You can as well call us on 310-3050 or 310-3051, or yet still 733-0688. Our opening hours are 8 a.m. to 8 p.m. Monday to Saturday and 9 a.m. to 4 p.m. on Sunday. Jamanu Money Transfer, your most trusted money transfer service where customer satisfaction is paramount. When you think of a simple, fast, and reliable money transfer, think Jamanu Money Transfer.
agada
ke mbijan raga nyaade
albaka
mbaka important
yo nga transfer la sto
ya transfer la
ha code nyinji
okay nsila id soto
ha sa so sorry agada
mbijan ro
albaka
mbaka
bara alla service o tariya
mbare
ki janna nun kunu bara tariya
jannom yona forest de bureau gambia tonkon nano mbali ya bere ka birin koyna fo kato
bari si kodo kino kato ni fo bolon blabe
56 branches mola soto gambia jam
ha
gambia kono ani gambia bantala bankol nko kodo kiya bere kodo sifa fo falindiro fo nyaadi lafta memmen na kodi topoto nin kodi maraw jannom number 1 di nyonta andum fana nata anoda enterprise sotale wala nyindi ko domorol fana kol fana be firale le dadi ma nin domorol ni fana beteata gambia dawda yalo ngam fa kendol sotale je
wo moyo diat
apelenta
baraka ni na lafta nyelen kendol e bina
yalo bu kanina ko la baraka ba
yalo ndel chosano lo
baraka